Thank you for having me here on a hot summer afternoon talking about coffee. Maybe not the right time. We should start this in the morning. So I've been associated with Araku Coffee, like Shruti said, for about a dozen years now. And today I would like to take you through a journey of where we are, because a lot of people ask me, you work for an NGO, and what are you doing in Paris? Who said an NGO worker cannot be in Paris, fashion capital of the world? But it all started, it did not start with an objective or a target to be in Paris. It started in 2002 with very simple origins. So in 2002, the current CEO Manoj and then board of directors, late Dr. Anji Reddy, had a vision to work in livelihoods for Nandi Foundation, and they selected Araku as a region where they wanted to explore Araku if they can do an impact, they can make an impact with farmers there. So when they started, Manoj did a road trip, and what he found was, let me start with the story. The first time the tribals met him, they asked him, where are you from? Are you from India? So that is where it starts. They never considered themselves part of a country called India. They were in their own small nook of land, which is 2.5 hour car ride from Visakhapatnam. We all think Visakhapatnam in our own Andhra Pradesh. So there's been a long journey since then. And initially what they found was farmers requested, the tribals requested, the locals, that there is a lot of healthcare interventions that are required. Araku had close to 96% child mortality rate. And from there, so Nandi tied up with NICE Foundation, and NICE Foundation is a non-profit pediatric association, and within 2 years, the child mortality rate could come down to 20%. And then further on, that's where the journey started. And it started with 10 villages with healthcare. And from there, you'll be wondering why I'm talking about healthcare when I talk about Araku Coffee. The journey of Nandi Foundation is such. We did not start to make Araku brand. We did not start to make the world's best specialty coffee. And we did not set to go to sell retail in Paris. That is where in 2002 we started with a simple objective for regional transformation with the help of the locals there. Nandi did not have an agenda, and we went in, we told them these are the benefits, these are the various programs that you'll be receiving special grants for. It did not work like that. Farmers were equal partners, I should say more than equal partners in strategizing the long-term goal for the region. And for those who don't know, like I said, Araku is 2.5 kilometers, car drive from Visakhapatnam, and it's a tribal area. It's a designated forest land where, except tribals, nobody can either own, lease, or transfer land, ownership of land. And I would like to, so when I gave you the example of that they considered themselves as a separate group, this is where you should understand farmers, the tribals, local tribals were not necessarily farmers. By profession and by livelihoods, they were hunters. Over years, there was no game, there was no birds, so for necessity, they had to convert into what we call farming. I don't even say agriculture, it's still farming, to produce what they grow and eat. And they were never selling it, they were just storing it. And with farmers like that, who were very secluded group, we wanted the next step beyond healthcare was to create a model, and the farmers themselves asked us to create an agricultural model. That was the beginning. And they said, you don't worry about what we eat. We'll take care of it. We know how much to grow, and we'll take care of it, and Mother Nature will take care of us. Can you explain to us what this crop is, which is occasionally middlemen or traders keep walking in, And every 2 years, either we get 5,000 rupees in our hand, and the following year we get 1,000. So the team engaged a group of agronomists to go explore what the special crop they were talking about. And it's basically coffee. The coffee was planted in the region almost 50 years ago, but never been farmed, never been grown. It grew by itself. It was naturally, you could almost say it was forest coffee. It was neither pruned nor harvested properly. When the coffee prices in rest of Coorg or Western Ghats, the traditional coffee growing areas, had a dip, a seasonal dip in coffee, traders would come to Araku because they knew in the rest of India this is the only non-traditional place where they could get some additional coffee. So they would just take a bag of coffee from the farmers and say, okay, this approximately weighs 35 kilos. So with wastages, we'll count it as 20 kilos. And with 20 kilos, the current market rate is 8 rupees. And that is what you'll be getting. And that was the cash. So that was the only cash crop that these farmers had. With tribals like that, with this special group, we, over the next decade, in the journey of where we are with Araku coffee, we had to first spend and create what we call foundation of trust and transparency. Because we were outsiders, we did not know it all. We needed help of farmers, we needed help of experts, we need help of coffee connoisseurs to guide us where we are. And of course, when we started talking to the farmers, you have to understand, that was the beginning of our agricultural model in which we had to think of environment. It was a clear mandate from our board of directors that we are not going to work with chemical fertilizers and pesticides. Whatever we do, we are not going to harm either the environment, climate, or the land, or the culture of the people. That is not why we are in the region. And can somebody guess what these are?
Soil.
So these are soils, and these are just around, I would say, 30 of around 14,000 soil varieties available in the region where Araku coffee is grown. We are currently testing 14,000 soil samples with ICRISAT in a drive to ensure that we have a baseline for the future. Soil is the reason we eat food. Soil is the base for everything. This we realized in 2002. Since then, along with our organic methodology, have created various ways with compost, with bioinoculants to enhance soil carbon. And the reason for this is with soil, we realized that is the only way yield of coffee bush and quality of the output, quality of the produce makes sense. They are the only way they would get better. So soil is very important for us. And of course, once we started strengthening the soil, working on it, because soil takes a while, it can get damaged in a year, but it takes decades to strengthen. Once we started working with soil and the people, the next logical step was wondering what to do with the produce. We had to create a good quality produce. And for anybody who doesn't know, this is how a coffee cherry looks. Coffee seed is part of the inside the cherry. And with respect to quality, in the last first decade, we took our time in what we call a foundation phase to create, to explain to the farmers, to explain to tribals, to get their buy-in of how to harvest the world's best coffee, because it all starts with the raw material. That is what the 19 in quality, in on the number means, 19 steps to achieving specialty coffee. It did take us 10 years to get there for sure. And then of course, once we had excellent quality raw material, we have to ensure that the processing and the post-processing is up to a good, wonderful specialty, global specialty coffee standards. Towards that, we do engage experts. This, for wine connoisseurs, will realize this is what a coffee connoisseur, coffee expert looks like. And in coffee jargon, we call it sip, slurp, and spit. That is what they do with coffee cupping. And 91 is the score of the best coffee from Araku region. 91 out of 100. That is the score they gave a couple of years ago. And in world over, 86 and above is considered specialty coffee. And in India, probably 1 or 2 small estates in Western Ghats have this privilege of above 90 scores, which have consistently done, but those are private estates near Chikmagalur and Koor, which are much smaller, which are single private estates. So the post-harvest evaluation was extremely important to us. So the reason I'm saying this is we have not, Sanjay has spoken about, everything Sanjay has spoken about, the aspiration to be there. That has to be there at every step. We could have stopped with farmers just growing coffee and stopped there, but we did not. We had to see it through. So at this stage, what we realized at the end of 2009, 10, 11, we started realizing the yields were going up in reality with the farmers. The yields were going up, but farmer profits still not the same because the traders and middlemen, the market linkage bit has not been addressed. So this is where once we realized the quality of coffee is extremely high, we started a venture where we wanted to sell coffee within India. And soon I realized our coffee is beyond the commodity quality. So nobody in India was looking for specialty coffee, and there was no way they're going to pay me specialty prices. And that was totally unacceptable. We had to find a way to sell the coffee with so much, that we grow with so much hard work and harvested by farmers at specialty coffee prices. We could not compromise. And so we started our own procurement. We said we will get into a social enterprise model where we procure coffee directly from the farmers. And just a quick anecdote on the bread. Typically, we all know fruit trees and flowering trees, they don't ripen uniformly. It's extremely tough. Take an example of a mango tree. We have mangoes in various stages of ripening. So we have to selectively harvest. So this is what coffee looks like. And trust me, no estate in India, no other estate in India has coffee like this. You will see a lot of greens, browns, and reds and green, a combination of red and yellow. So these are our farmers, and what we did with that is, again, we had to innovate. We had to see how farmers come first, how we can put farmers first. Towards that, when we started procurement, we said we need to pay the farmer ahead. In any market, in any coffee market, anywhere in the world, farmer is paid by the middlemen or the traders post-sale. This is what happens mostly. Or the farmers are paid very cheap. Like in case of vegetables, when you purchase farm gate is cheap price, much cheaper prices. So what we do, we pay 1.5 times the commodity price to the farmers within 10 days of them harvesting. So that is a major innovative change we had to take, and which meant a bigger burden on us to sell the coffee and taking up higher risk. So that is what we call farmer profits and shared wealth. So you must be wondering why the slide says branding and why it's showing Google Earth map. When I said we take quality seriously, you should understand specialty coffee market anywhere in the world, luxury goods, consumer goods, anywhere in the world. Our aim has always been Apple and Hermes. What does Hermes do? They, for each bag that is hand sewn, they have a number that relates to the particular tailor, particular artisan. For us, in specialty coffee market, traceability is extremely important. And this is a profile of one village out of the 1400 villages that we work in. All the small irregular rectangles and yellows and greens are GPS mapped coffee plots, actual coffee plots. So whenever you pick your next cup of Araku, I can tell you. I personally have the files, the back-end files. I can tell you which farmer has created those. It could be a series of farmers, because most of our farmers are small farmers with less than half acre of land. They do not have estates. They have the very small half acre of land. As you can see there, 83 farmers, 82 plots and 44.8 acres. So this is actually a 30-page document where we do what we call a landscape study of the whole village. It talks about the soil, each farm's soil type, as in, is it rocky? Because they're all in hills, as you can see at an elevation. What slope they are in, what elevation they are in, because coffee and elevation are a big deal. Coffee's characteristics get better with higher elevation. And we have exposition to sun, that's extremely important. That is the reason, and this is what we call terroir. Terroir is a concept that basically comes from the wine industry in France, but it's not anything new to anybody in India. When we talk about Banginpalli from Andhra Pradesh against Alfonso from Maharashtra, that's terroir. We all innately know some vegetables grow better, taste better from our homeland, our home villages or nearby. So that is nothing but terroir. What we applied here is that all the yellow ones have a certain inclination to the sun. They have a slightly different taste and coffee profile than the ones in the lower part. So we take all these, and this is the level of technology and data we work with. Araku coffee is not a fluke. A lot of people ask us, are you an NGO? I said, yes, NGO that works extremely like capitals, and we are very good at it. And this is what we call traceability, which is very important in specialty coffee. And of course, we can't talk about anything else unless we look at the product, the end product. This is our end product. And by now, we realized we have to have experts that help us with branding, marketing, with the next step of packaging. We are very good at growing coffee and all. We are very good at making decisions. But we needed the experts in branding and marketing, and world over we combed and we found them in Paris. So our branding agency is from Paris, and we have global experts, coffee experts from Portland. Our coffee experts started the first 50 Starbucks coffee shops in Seattle, and so this is where, if you see the journey from, while working in the field, we started to get into market consolidation phase. And this started around 2009. And all our coffees are organic and fair trade certified since 2009. That means the whole land that we work with. So the next step for us in market consolidation was 2017. We opened a store, our first Araku coffee store in Paris. With an aim, you see all the places next, we had that aim right then. We didn't say we'll see how Paris goes. There was no way we could fail because we had a lot of farmers' lives at stake. And 2021, I know a lot of people from Bangalore are here. If you haven't been Bangalore, we have Araku coffee in Indiranagar. And it's just few weeks ago, it was voted the best Bangalore Times modern food and coffee place. So, all this sounds good, but to make impact, we need numbers. Right from day one, we knew we cannot do this for 2 villages and say we have the world's best agricultural model. It was not possible. As you can see, the first numbers are from 2002 and 2022, and the last numbers are 2027. It took 2 decades for us to get here, but now this is where we get into the acceleration phase of the brand and the product. As you can see, our number of villages went from 100 to 1400 to 2100. We are talking not villages like the urban regions, we are talking villages that are spread over 2,000 square kilometers with maximum average of 35 households. And then the number of farmers, as you can see, we work only with households because a farmer family is a unit for us. And the number of the area in acreages, in acres, and the number of trees in the whole thing, what we realized was we need to create, it's one thing not to spoil the ecology, but it's also very important to add biodiversity to the region. So we did plant 35 million sapling. We plan to have another 10, but as of today it's 25 million saplings that we have planted. These include around 30 varieties of fruit trees and of course coffee bushes as well. So this is what, and the picture there, what we call, we were working with coffee until a certain years, but the typical farmer hamlet includes and has all these farms. They work with agroforestry, which are fruit trees, pulses, millets, they can grow all this. So going forward, going forward, we plan to include all these, and this is what we call acceleration phase. So the products will be from coffee to 10 more. And then of course, this is what I'm talking about, I already mentioned. And in the process, where we are with retail on the other side, is we tied up with Red Dot winners, Anderson and Wall, premium designers, and we have various, we work parallelly with innovative retail for coffee.